Hey, welcome to my kitchen. So normally we're out in my yard, but and I've got a helper today. Huh? Are you helping? You're helping, Grandpa? Oh, thank you. Oh, such a big helper. You keep it. Anyhow, to me, nothing says summer more than the first rhubarb pie. You know, there's a lot of debate back and forth. Rhubarb pie, strawberry rhubarb pie. But I often wondered, how did strawberry rhubarb pie ever become a thing when rhubarb comes on so much earlier than strawberries? But for me, growing up, nothing was more pleasing than to find Mom or Grandma making rhubarb pie, rhubarb cake, rhubarb crisp, rhubarb dream bars. Oh my gosh. But today, it's all going to be about rhubarb pie, my rhubarb pie, the rhubarb pie that I enjoy, which was handed down by my mother, who knows where she got it from. So if you've ever dealt with, we're just going to say it, old people who know how to bake and cook, the notes and the recipes, look at it. This is what I've been dealing with for the last 30 years. This piece of paper has rhubarb crisp, rhubarb cake, and rhubarb pie. But I bet you could never figure out how to make that rhubarb pie based on those chicken scratch and notes. However, today I'm going to show you how, and in the details, I will go ahead and include the recipe. But the first things first, we've got to go get some rhubarb. So I'll meet you out by the rhubarb, and then we'll get our rhubarb cut. All right. Oh, very good. You finally made it. We've got our knife. This is my rhubarb. This one's doing a lot better than this one. Not sure. Maybe that needs more water. So we're going to use a nice big one. Oh, look at, a helper. What do we got here? Oh, you're pulling Grandpa's plant steaks. Oh, perfect. Here, you have, there you, perfect. Okay. So to make rhubarb pie, you need rhubarb. Yes. All right, so let's find us some. And now rhubarb, you just pull that out. And I'm looking for about 4 cups worth. All right, so I'll probably pick a little bit more, but make sure you pull it out from the ground there. And then I just go through with a sharp knife, cut off the leaves. This will get added to the compost pile. Uh-oh. What are we? What? What broke? No, it's supposed to break. Yeah. All right, so I'll finish this up and then we'll meet back in the kitchen. How's that sound? All right, so you've probably already noticed my kitchen is so small. It needs to be about 6 feet wider with an island, but this is what I have. And you know what? I spend most of my time out in the yard anyway, so it's all good. So let's get to making this pie. First things first. Don't buy store-bought. That's not pie crust. You need to have a good, not just decent, a good, flaky, wonderful pie crust. If you don't have that, use mine. I'll include those directions. And by mine, I mean, it's the one I use. I'm telling you, I didn't come up with it. My wife, this is her crust recipe that she got from her mother, who got from her mother. And in my opinion, it makes the absolute best pie crust. So, to start with, make sure all your wet ingredients are cold, like your water is cold. We're gonna start with 3 cups of flour that I've already put here in my bowl. And then to that, we're gonna add some other ingredients. So get yourself a 2-cup measuring cup. And then get some cold water. The key is, I'm telling you, keep it cold. And we're going to put a 1/2 cup of water in here. And we've used this so much that we've worn off the lines. Okay, we're gonna put a 1/2 cup of cold water. Now I had ice sitting in this to make sure that it was kept cold. And then to that, right here in this container, we're gonna add some Crisco, some shortening. And what your goal is here is to make sure that you bring it up to the 2-cup line. Hey, and if you haven't already, make sure to get that oven on. You need it in a preheated oven. So get that oven set to 375. Put the rack in the middle. And you're going for that 2-cup line. Maybe just a little too much in there. All right, so we got the 2-cup line. Next, I'm gonna dump this out because we don't need that anymore. Next thing we're gonna do, next thing we're gonna do, you wanna save this water. So what I do is I get my handy dandy chopstick or something similar, and then I pour that water out. Try your best to get as much of the water out as possible. The key was here though, we wanted to make sure we had the right amount of shortening. All right, then we're gonna set that aside. I'm done with the shortening. And then we're gonna cut that shortening into the flour. You just want to cut that until it's nice and crumbly. This pie crust recipe will make enough crust for 1 pie, top bottom. And depending on how thick or thin you roll your pie crust, you can get additional bottom, a single layer pie crust. So you can make your rhubarb pie or your apple pie or whatever and have enough left over to perhaps make a lemon meringue pie. So get that, again, you're looking for nice and crumbly, pea-size. Not really pea-size, I'm not sure. You know, all the recipes say pea-size and crumbly pea-size, but and then I try to mix it around a little bit so that you want to get that flour up from the bottom so that can also get incorporated. All right. So that looks pretty good. All nice and crumbly. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about crumbly. That's perfect. Now to that, we're gonna add a cold egg. And mix that up just a little bit. We're going to add a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And we're going to give that a stir. Just use a spatula. Don't be getting a mixer out. And then we're going to add our water. Don't overwork this, but you want to get it mixed. Just with the spatula here. All right, and then once you've got that mixed, what you're going to do is you're going to turn that out onto a lightly floured surface. Here's a surface. We'll lightly flour it. And then just turn that out. Now we're going to knead this a little bit. Don't over knead it. Just knead it just enough to make sure it's all pulled together. Because again, if you over knead it, you're going to get a tough, chewy crust. And nobody wants that on their pie. Okay. Then I cut that in half, thereabouts. Now, again, the key is we want to make sure that this is kept chilled. So I get the best performance after I've cut it. Flatten it down a little bit. I wrap it in some saran wrap. And then I pop it in the fridge so it can just stay chilled until we're ready for it. So let's get to the filling. Okay, so we got the rhubarb. Now we need to get that cut. So I like to cut it, you know, you can make it as big or as small as you like. I like the 1/4 to 1/2 inch size, kind of a variety. It's nothing, doesn't need to be perfect, however you like it. So here we go, let's get it cut. All right, just over 4 cups. Okay, so don't you find it irritating sometimes when you read directions and it says, oh, you need some of this, or 4 to 5 cups of this, or a cup to 1.5 cups of that. You know, the biggest thing you got to do is just figure out what you like and try it. So, like my rhubarb recipe says 4 to 5 cups. So this is 4-cup line. I fill it to the top, so it's somewhere between 4 to 5 cups, and it works out great. So just play around with that when you come across recipes, but I'll let you know in mine where it says has a range, what that range is and why you would make those different choices. So in a bowl we're going to add 1.5 cups of regular sugar. We are going to put a tablespoon of flour, and 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. I like to give that just a little good mix. Then we're gonna add ourselves 2 eggs. Give that a good mix. Then I'll be right back. Forgot the most important thing. Heavy cream. Make sure you have heavy cream. This is, still smells good. This is a custard pie, if you will. I don't know if it really is a custard pie, but it has egg and it has cream. And that's gonna cook. So we're gonna put a 1/4 cup of cream in there. And you know what? I measured a 1/4 cup. I want the 1/4 cup. Yes. That's flour. I wouldn't eat that straight. Okay. And then mix that in. And then at that point, we could add rhubarb. But the one thing that I do that was not in the recipe I was given, which to me makes it mine then, is I put a capful of vanilla. And use real vanilla, not that imitation stuff. To me, nothing smells better than baked goods baked with vanilla. The smell that it puts in the house is just amazing. All right, so that's mixed up. Done with this. Oh, look at that, making a mess. Then dump your rhubarb in. Please don't forget to clean your rhubarb before you dice it. Now we're gonna mix that up. Oh my gosh. Oh, rhubarb vanilla. Oh. All right. We are ready to fill a pie. So get yourself a cookie sheet, line it with tin foil, aluminum foil, whatever you want to call that. I'm old, so I call it tin foil. I have my filling. Next, we're gonna roll out that pie dough. And this, we'll get to this. Okay, let's get to the pie dough. All right, so I took this out of the fridge. And if you cut like I do, that's not exactly half. It doesn't need to be exactly half. Don't go out and buy yourself a kitchen scale for pie dough. But this works out. So I always look at it, and the fatter piece is, the bigger piece is the one that I use for the bottom, because that'll take a little more dough than the top. So we're gonna start with the bottom. So get yourself I use a pastry mat. I lightly flour it. I don't know, maybe that's lightly, hard to say. Who needs a dough sticking to things? Nobody. We just don't need that. All right, then I get my pie plate, just so I can eyeball it, just so I have an idea what I'm going for. Then I unwrap my dough. Run that out. Dust it a little bit. Get my rolling pin dusted. And then, hey, if it's your first time making pie and making a pie dough, you know what? You're gonna have to practice with it. I'm not gonna say it's an art to roll out a round circle, but it does take a little practice and patience to get it right. But that's what we're gonna do, is we're gonna roll this out as close as possible to a circle. thing about using this is you can turn it. So if you've got a kitchen like mine that isn't spacious. All right, and we're going for, you know, what is that? 1/8 of an inch thick, probably. 1/8 of an inch thick. But the key is it's going to be big enough. You know what? It's almost there. So we're just going to roll out these sides just a little bit. All right, then take your pie plate, gently put your pie in half, or your dough in half, lay it over the pie plate, unfold it, adjust it, so that you've got dough coming around and it comes down into the bottom of the pan. This is just a 9-inch pie plate. If you're using an 8-inch, well, you're gonna have more dough hanging over. And you probably won't use your whole filling. Ooh, but then maybe get a little 3-inch one and make a little pot pie rhubarb pie. Ooh, doesn't that sound nice? Okay, so we're gonna set that off to the side. We're gonna lightly flour this a little bit more. Then we'll take our top piece. Again, just like before, we're going to round that out. We're going to pat it down a little bit. We're going to lightly dust it with flour. Do the rolling pin as well. All right, and now it's time to roll that out. I love a pie crust that when done is thick, flaky, and melts in your mouth. And in my experience, this pie crust never ceases to impress me. All right, so again, we're rolling that out to about an 1/8 thick, making sure that we've got enough to cover, which we do. Oh, now the magic is gonna happen. Where's our rhubarb mix? Ah, it's way down here. All right, so that's been sitting there. Let's mix that up a little bit more. All right, and then let's pour that in there. Hey, and I told you earlier, if your oven is not preheating, you need to get that on 375. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh. Get all that out. This is just gonna make it delicious. Just absolutely. Oh my God. Okay. Even that out a little bit. Now, simple as this. We're going to take and fold our top pie crust in half again. Brush off some of that excess flour. And then lay it down. Unfold it. Oh my gosh, look at that. Here, let's give us a little working room. Clean that up later. Okay, now I'll go around, cut that off. Cut that off, don't cut your finger off. Make sure to throw some dough on the floor. All right. So that you could roll out, put some, sprinkle some cinnamon sugar on it, and have a good time. Now, then you just want to start rolling this together, because you want to keep all that wonderful filling inside. So make sure to roll that baby up. Okay, almost done, almost done, almost done, almost done. Okay, and then crimp that how you like, you know, make pretty designs. Make it uniform, however you like. That part I'll leave up to you. I'm all about eating the pie. Oh, I think that's gonna be great. Now what we gotta do is get yourself an egg, make an egg wash. So we're gonna use a little bit of egg, a little bit of cold water. Then we're gonna mix that up. Make as much noise as possible. All right, then we're gonna get yourself a pastry brush. And then make sure you get the edges and everything. Now, you're going to notice that in the directions, it says bake until done. How long is that? Well, you know, different ovens bake at different temperatures. So that's going to vary. But here's the thing you need to know, is you want to keep an eye on it. It's going to take about an hour. Oh, hey, before we get to that though. So this is turbinado sugar. It's that large granular sugar. I love sprinkling this on top of baked goods. That'll just add a nice little shine. A little bit of crisp crunch. And then after you're done with that, hey, make sure to poke just a couple vent holes in there, so that the steam's got somewhere to escape. And then we're gonna put it in the oven. Okay, so now this is ready to go in the oven. So we're putting this in a 370-degree oven that's been preheated. We're putting it on the middle rack on a foil-lined pan. The foil, you don't need the foil, but you know, if you enjoy cleaning, but it makes it easier. So if this does ooze out, all that sugary, sweet liquid is gonna make black marks everywhere. So we don't want that to happen. So we're gonna put that on our foil-lined pan, oven, 375. And while it just says until done in the directions, what you're going for is about an hour, but I'm telling you, 35 to 40 minutes, start looking at it. If this starts getting too brown, you need to put a ring around it. I don't have the pie ring, so I will just make it out of foil. You need to put a foil on it, or perhaps tent the whole thing as you're watching it, so that your crust doesn't burn. Don't ruin this amazing crust. The pie, you're gonna know the pie is done when, and here's a trick I learned. Nothing's more frustrating than having a chilled pie. You go in to cut into it the first time, and you just got this goopy, watery mess. We've got egg, we've got cream in here. That's gonna make a custard. And you wanna make sure that sets. So when the pie looks great, as you're approaching that hour mark, get yourself a thermometer, put it in there, and make sure it's at about 170 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the temperature that custard's gonna set. And once you've reached that, then take it out, let it cool, room temperature, and then chill it. I enjoy this chilled with a great big dollop of whipped cream, and I'll show you. Okay, so for now, let's get it in the oven. Let's get this baby started. Oh, look at that, I didn't adjust my rack. So we're gonna put that on the middle rack. And we will see you in about 35 minutes when we check on the crust. All right, so it's been about 35 minutes. Look at how big and flaky that crust is. That's just absolutely amazing to me. The crust is still doing fine. It's not getting too dark yet, so we're not gonna tempt that yet. All right, we'll check back in maybe another 10 minutes or so. All right, it's been another 10 minutes. Let's see how this pie is doing. Okay, so now I'm really happy with that crust. Let's take this out. Just for kicks and giggles, let's check out the temperature inside. Remember, I told you our goal is 170 degrees. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, what does that say? Well, you're gonna trust me. It says it's 119. So we're gonna cover that with foil, get it back in the oven. Give it another 15 minutes, and then we'll check again. Okay, so it's been in for just about an hour and 50 minutes. I got a little distracted. So we're a little high there, but we hit that 170 degree mark. Oh, there, I took it off the bottom. And now it's continuing to cool. So we're gonna let this pie cool, and later this evening, we'll cut it and put a dollop of whipped cream on it. Okay, this pie has been chilling for the last few hours. First of all, I let it chill to room temperature on the stove, and then I put it in the refrigerator. So let's see if it turned out. That is a good pie. Nice flaky crust. And let's check out the taste. Perfect way to end a day. Crust is phenomenal. The filling, tart, sweet, delicious. A little bit of coffee. I hope you have an opportunity to make this pie and enjoy it. I will try to make some other rhubarb desserts. But first, my granddaughter's, she's just running into walls, so let me tend to her. Happy baking, happy gardening, and I'll see you again soon.